4,059 kids have been adopted in the last 2 years. Stated by, according to Denise Goodman, an independent trainer and consultant from the North American Council of Adoptable Children, published in September of 2019. Everyone, including all of us in this room, should be able to know where we came from. In today's world, you can submit a simple DNA sample through the mail and figure out a great deal of information about your background, such as your heritage or what percentage Irish you are. With knowing information like that, it would be quite frustrating not to know who your biological parents are. Open adoption is preferable to closed adoption. First, I will discuss the definition of open adoption. Second, I'll talk about the pros of open adoption. And third, I'll talk about my story of open adoption and its positive impact. First, I will discuss the definition of open adoption. With open adoption, you are able to meet the adopted parents and the biological parents are able to meet before the adoption of the child. According to Alexis McGill-Johnson, acting president and CEO of Planned Parenthood for more than a decade, from the Planned Parenthood updated in 2019, stated that with open adoption, you are able to keep in contact with the child as the child grows up. So that means that the birth parent and the people who adopted the parent or adopted the child are able to stay in contact. When you put your child up for adoption, this can be something that can be hard for someone, but because you're not able to be in their life. But at least being able, with an open adoption, you're able to stay in their life at least a little bit with communication. Next, I'll talk about some pros of open adoption. It can be a challenging thing when you just have to give up your child to someone that you don't know. But at least with open adoption, you can figure out who is adopting your child before the adoption process. And no kid wants to sit in foster care as they are growing up. So with open adoption and with adoption in general, you are keeping kids out of foster care. Next, I'll talk about my story of open adoption and its positive impact. When I was in 4th grade, I found out that I had a brother who had been adopted. So my parents went through the adoption process. So according to Samantha Sheridan, who went through the open adoption process with her son, in an interview conducted on October 21st, stated that as my brother was growing up, they chose to communicate with pictures and mailing letters from my family to his family as he grew up, because they were not able to be in his life. When my brother was 15, he found my mom on Facebook and decided that he wanted to be in mine and my sister's lives and like all of our lives. So when he was 17, he moved in to our house and moved in with us. And that's my story of how open adoption and why it has a positive impact on my life. First, I talked about the definition of open adoption. Second, I talked about some pros of open adoption. Third, and finally, I talked about my story of open adoption and its positive impact. Imagine if those 459 kids had the love from both sets of parents. The love that they felt each day would be immeasurable. In the world of adoption, more families equals more love, and that should be our end goal. 3